my style, and maybe every style, is preceded by an ideal cinema. So I can tell you my ideal cinema, which is an approach that strives to find synergies between fiction and documentary, because both of them can deliver a certain truth, a certain relatability. My whole career, I try to find the possible affinities and dissonances, so the synergies between those two schools of cinema, schools of thought. And I actually continue that way, understanding how fiction can benefit from a more realistic approach, and vice versa. That's the hardest process, because in a way I had to choose characters, but characters have to choose me. They had to agree on the fact that we had to embark on a journey, on a filmic journey that is long, that is intense, and it's extremely intimate. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of what in fiction is called character study. I could call it the same in my approach, which is a humanistic approach aimed at understanding the intrinsic value of these people, their own stories that they are willing to tell, understanding if what they had to say, the stories they need to tell and show, are worth telling on a larger audience, putting on a film. Okay. I need a certain sense of belonging in an environment, in a community, in a space, and time to tell a story, at least until now, because I'm an artist. And I do think that the pertinence of my work for a community, for a context, political and human, is key. And that affected me as a filmmaker, because it made me more and more aware of the repercussions of a story that I can tell onto a bigger scenario. But it's also been very important humanly, because there is this experiential approach. It's what allows me to actually know certain context of America very, very deeply. The more experience I get, the older I get, the more I understand that my affinity with silence and gestures and patience and a poised way of interacting reflects the way I want to live my life. I don't know if I would tell you that this is an artistic stance. I'd rather tell you this is how I like to inhabit the space of my films, with people who give me enough silence for me to reflect upon what I'm watching, for me to make up my own silence in my head. I'm a guy who has, conversation through the beautiful language of thought. So I think my affinity with silence comes from the fact that I'm very comfortable when words are shut down, interrupted, and there is room for just thinking, and most importantly for just being in the film as an audience. So I use silence and gesture as a strong communication vehicle that allows the audience to fill in the blanks. I like to say that I'm an insider and an outsider at the same time. I bring a dual perspective, which makes me more of a qualified observer of America, because I can actually put what I observe, the situation in America, into a broader context. That helps me relativize situation, that helps me adopt a less judgmental approach on film, simply because I can draw parallelism, I can digress on history, European legacy, and American legacy. When I worked as a more of a social observer of America, this dual perspective and this ability not to react to a situation, not to immediately judge, not to label it, but to allow me to go much, much deeper into my search, and to let some of these stories that are extremely intimate, poignant, to emerge and in their honesty and transparency. There have been many. So that's the beauty. I think the beauty of cinema, that is always flirted and worked in symbiosis with realism and reality. And in a way or another, in every era, there has been someone who has been telling us stories of something extremely real, extremely true. So I've been inspired by a countless number of filmmakers throughout history.